Hello everybody, this is HyperCole64, and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Before the Sequel. In the last episode, ladies and gentlemen, we traversed through Titanic Tower Zone as good old Sonic the Hedgehog, and in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, I get hit by an enemy I didn't see. In this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going through Cloudy Crowd Zone, and there's actually one thing I need to point out before I actually go into the level. That was really embarrassing. Anyway, as I was saying, if you guys have been paying attention to the score for this game, which, you know, the score doesn't really matter, so why would you pay attention to the score? But for those of you who have been paying attention to the score at the top left corner throughout the Let's Play, at least over the past few episodes, you might have noticed that the score has gotten significantly lower since the last episode. That's because I've actually had to re-record this level. In fact, I've actually had to do some re-recordings throughout the rest of this playthrough because of some certain glitches that appear throughout the game. I'll go over those glitches in an extra video, but I did encounter a glitch in this particular level, not in this act, but in the next act. It was sort of a sound glitch. I'll talk more about it in an extra video, but it was sort of a thing where I just didn't want it in the video, and I felt like if I kept it in the video, it wouldn't look good, or wouldn't sound good, I guess. Again, I'll talk more about that in an extra video, but anyway. Cloudy Crowd Zone. It's full of clouds, and you're playing as Tails. Yeah, and there's this annoying foreground for some reason. Like, the one thing I really kind of don't like about this level is the fact that this is the point where the enemy placements kind of start getting a little bit jerkish, and there's also this annoying foreground layer of clouds that, I don't know, it just doesn't fit well with me. It kind of is. It's a little bit distracting. Let's just put it that way. It's a little bit distracting. I mean, the level is not too bad. I still like it. I still like the song. But, you know, I could do without this front layer. And I could do without that cheap enemy placement. Although that is my fault for trying to take a shortcut, so I don't know. Also, there are these weird plunger things for some freaking odd reason. Even Tails is confused. He was bopping his head up and down from total confusion. Anyway, now about the song in this level. You might notice that the song sounds kind of familiar. For any hardcore Sonic fans out there, you might notice this song sounds quite familiar. That's because the song in this act is actually a remix of Tails' theme from both Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. It's sort of a mishmash of both versions of his theme, which they're both the same song, but they're both done differently in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. But yeah, it's pretty much a mismatch of both versions of the song, and I think it's actually pretty well done. It's fully orchestrated, or at least, I guess, fake orchestra, since I imagine this is not real instruments, but it's still really fantastic. It's very well orchestrated, and it's very well done. I really like it. It definitely fits the theme of this level, you know, you being high in the clouds, and the fact that it's Tails' theme. It's really cool. It's kind of also empowering as well, since it's like, it sort of gives you a feeling that Tails is becoming, I guess, braver, because Tails at this point has been following Sonic constantly. He's constantly been following Sonic and then eventually got to his side. But now, and of course Tails had to deal with Sorge kidnapped at one point. But now Tails is sort of on his own. He sort of has to traverse through this level by his own without following Sonic, without being by Sonic's side. And I think this song really gives the sort of feeling of Tails is starting to become extremely brave. He's starting to get a sense of bravery. And I personally think that the song really fits well with the level. And it fits well with the theme that Tails is becoming much braver than he was before, which is pretty awesome. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the level itself. Well, actually, I've already talked about the level itself, so what should I talk about? Also, screen goes to white for some reason. Oh, yeah, here's the gimmick for this level. This level is rainy, and this level has a bunch of fans for some reason. I don't know why there are a bunch of fans in this level, but they are. But basically, when you press the buttons that activate the fans, they basically lead you to another path. Now, there's not really any reason for them to be there, to be honest. They don't really add to anything. They just open up the path that you're supposed to go to. But, you know, whatever. It's still kind of interesting, I guess. Also, we have these sort of... We have these clouds that are kind of like the clouds from Sky Sanctuary from Sonic 3 Knuckles, but not really, since you don't get as high of height. You don't get as much height with them, and they disappear after you bounce on them a couple times. But yeah, so this is actually the second to last level of the game, ladies and gentlemen. After this, we have one more level to go, then we have the final boss, and then it will be all over. We will finally be done with this game after, like, what, 9 months? And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. I really apologize for all these constant delays and constant giant gaps between videos, but, you know, I've tried to come up with a schedule. I've tried my best to come up with some kind of schedule or something, but every time I try to come up with a schedule, I never follow through with it. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of motivation or something. Maybe I have less motivation. Maybe I'm too distracted. I don't know, but it's something I'm definitely going to have to fix for next year if I plan to upload videos a lot more often for you guys, which I do plan to. I'm just hoping I can be more motivated and, you know, get less distracted that I can actually upload content for you guys more often. Because I do really, I just want to mention to you guys, I really do enjoy doing LPs. I enjoy doing this stuff. It's just the fact that sometimes I can get a little bit lazy and distracted. So, there you go. But yeah, second to last level of the game. And, you know, it's not the best level in the game. But, you know, I still like it. I think I would definitely prefer this level over Titanic Tower. Yeah. Again, since you have the fly ability with Tails, it makes traversing through the level a lot easier, which is pretty cool. Although, if you saw in the first act, I was trying to take some shortcuts with Tails, and I actually got hit with enemies, which kind of sucks, actually. It's like, I don't know. Is it the developer's fault that you end up getting hit by an enemy because you try to rush the level with Tails' ability? Or is it your fault that you tried to rush through the level or something? I don't know. It's either one of the two. It's definitely... There's definitely two different perspectives to it that I imagine people would have on it. In my personal opinion, I think that maybe the level design could have been, at least for the first act, the level design could have been accommodated for the fact that people would be using the flight ability a lot and would want to rush through a level. And maybe because of that, maybe the creator would have put in maybe a little bit less enemies into the level, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you can give your opinion in the comments, but, you know, it's again, that's a nitpick, honestly. It's still a pretty fun level, regardless. But, yeah. So, yeah, the Death Egg is about to launch. The Death Egg is currently launching into space, and we need to go stop it immediately. But before we do, a special stage in Act 2. That's peculiar. Isn't it? Isn't it? No? Not peculiar? Oh. Okay. Also, Ryu song for the win! Anyway, guys, I believe this is actually the final special stage of the game. After this, there will be no more special stages to deal with, and, yeah, not that these special stages have been annoying or anything, because you didn't really need to collect anything in this level anyway. It's just for extra lives and everything, so, you know, we're going to be saying goodbye to the special stages after this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Which is kind of sad, since it was a great way to rack up rack up lives, but regardless. So yeah, there's nothing else I really need to say until we actually get to the next act. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and stop commentating for a little bit, because we actually have a cutscene coming up. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and shut up until we can get to the next act, because honestly I have nothing else to talk about at this point. So I will see you guys in a bit. Crap just got real, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Act 3 of Cloudy Crowd Zone, and this theme should especially sound familiar to old-school Sonic fans. This is actually a remix of Sky Sanctuary, and interestingly enough, it's actually not made by... this is actually not an original remix, actually. This is actually taken from, I believe, the Project Chaos soundtrack that was created for Overclocked... for the Overclocked Remix website. I believe that's correct. I might be wrong in some cases. I know the soundtrack was called Project Chaos, and I know that it was put onto, I believe it was an overclocked remix soundtrack. I think that's what it was. But regardless, we are now rushing to get to the Death Egg, because as you can see, the Death Egg is launching now, and we are now rushing and flying up as Tails to get back up there. And one of the gimmicks in this level that was kind of something that was in a previous level were those platforms where if you stand on them for a little bit too long, they will spurt fire on them. Only the difference between the fire platforms in this level and the previous level is that when you step on them for too long, fire will come out of them and you will end up losing your ring. So really be careful with those platforms. Don't stay on them for too long. It was the red platforms. It's the red platforms that you don't want to stay on for too long. So just be careful with those and you should be okay. Overall, this act is not too bad. It doesn't really have that many cheap enemies. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't do any bad. It's pretty cool. The theme especially definitely fits very well because we are literally rushing to get to that Death Egg. Holy craps. Did you see that cutscene? Sonic is literally rushing up the freaking rocket just to get to the Death Egg so he can stop Eggman from launching this thing into space. Of course, for anyone who plays the other Sonic games, we all know that Eggman obviously eventually gets the Death Egg into space. But regardless, if you never played Sonic before, and if so, why the frick are you playing this game? Because this is a direct fault. This is a prequel to Sonic 2, so why the frick are you playing this game if you never played Sonic 2? I don't... Regardless, we need to get up to Death Egg, we need to stop Eggman, and we need to go help Sonic, so let's go ahead and do that. As Tails. And yeah. I really have nothing else to say at this point, guys, until we actually get to the boss. I didn't actually think of any topics to talk about for this video, so... Or at least topics that are related to this type of game in general. Because one thing that I've definitely been learning throughout the past few months is that whenever I talk about topics, I should probably talk about a topic that is related to the game itself. That way, you know, it's a little bit more relevance to what I'm talking about. That way it's not something random like, hey, I just did something recently, and it's not totally related to this game. I mean, it's not a bad thing when you talk about any topic you want, but it does seem better when you talk about a topic that's related to the game you're actually playing or something, or you give some history on the game you're actually playing. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have another cutscene coming up, so I will shut up for that, and we also have another boss coming up, and after this boss, we will be ending off the episode, so I will shut up for this cutscene, and we will be heading off to the boss battle. Alright, and welcome to the boss of Metro... Wait, stop that video right there. Wait. Can we replay that? Metro Madness? That's totally not a glitch. That was strange. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so this boss is a little bit interesting because it is a sort of flying boss. Basically, what you have to do is you basically fly around on this mech-type enemy as Tails, which doesn't make any sense because Tails can fly anyway, so why would he be flying on that thing? Then again, Tails can only fly for a certain amount of time, so I guess he would probably need this just so Tails wouldn't fall to his death. But anyway, basically what you have to do is you have to dodge all these missiles, and you have to hit the boss in the middle of this stage, I guess, this flying stage. And I believe you can never... I might be wrong because I've never experienced it, but I don't believe you can actually fall off this Bagnik. I believe every time you hit an enemy and you start following, you will always be caught by that Bagnik, and you should be just fine. So yeah, it's a pretty simple boss. It can get a little annoying at times because missiles can kind of backstab you, but as long as you're okay and you keep collecting rings, you should be fine with this boss. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, because I really have nothing else to talk about in this episode, that's pretty much going to be it for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please check out my other content. Follow me on Miiverse, Twitter, Twitch, you know, all those things. And, you know, do all that crap. Till next time, guys, I'm Hypercold64. I thank you for watching, and I will see you guys for the final episode of Sonic Before the Sequel. See you guys.